The day started as usual. Anna was getting ready for work. As usual, the sun was shining through the window half opened. Her hair half dried by the towel but still had that wet shine, and her eyes glowed in hazel when struck by sunlight. There was a light knock on the door. Anna opened the door in a hurry, and to her surprise, it was her old friend from school days. His name was Chris. Chris was a young guy with a lot of zeal and a heavy build. He was the kind of a guy you want to befriend, but also a little gullible. Anna, with a smile on her face, greeted her friend with a hug, but as soon as she felt his body, it was ice cold. This discomforted Anna, asked why was he shivering cold, to which he replied, the weather and the cold breeze were the reason for this. Anna didn't give this much thought and invited the friend in. She called the office to notify them that she wasn't going to attend the office today due to some emergency. Anna sat with his friend and chatted for a while. They caught up with what was happening in their lives, but Anna couldn't help but notice there was a tense look on Chris's face the whole time. She finally asked Chris what was going on and why was he shivering, to which he replied he was just feeling under the weather. Anna quickly went to the kitchen and made him a cup of soothing tea to calm him down a bit. She turned on the TV and there was news flashing on that about a serial killer on the loose claiming his next victim in Beverly Hills, and apparently Chris was from that place. The guy who was the victim was about 6 feet tall, and that's all the information available about him. His body was mauled beyond recognition. The murderer was no other than the Beverly Butcher. He became active every alternate year, claiming 5 people before going invisible again. This was the 4th victim. Suddenly she saw Chris gasping for air. She could tell something was not right. She calmed him down and asked what was happening. Suddenly Anna's phone rang. It was Ben, her boyfriend, whom she met in California when she was there on official business and stumbled upon him at a cafe. Anna went on to pick up the phone. Then Chris told her and begged her not to pick the phone up. Seeing his desperation, she didn't pick up the call. After the phone went silent, she could see him sweat and asked what was it all about. Chris couldn't keep it inside any longer and babbled that Ben wasn't who she thinks she is, and the words felt like daggers to her heart because she was already at war with her parents regarding Ben and how they didn't think he was a potential boy for her. Her face was always calm and had a beautiful look, but after hearing this her face was twisted with anger. She shouted at Chris for saying that about him, and after a few minutes of him being utterly disrespected by Anna, she furiously kicked him out of the house without hearing another word. After an hour she was confused as to what happened, and she shouldn't have done that, so she called Chris to apologize, but his phone was turned off. Suddenly a thought hit her that how could he possibly know Ben? Her phone rang again. It was Ben. He answered the phone. Ben was huffing as though he was running away from something. Worried about him, Anna asked what was wrong, to which he giggled and told just getting the workout done. He asked Anna as to where she was. She told she missed office today as an old friend visited. Ben asked as to who it was. She told him he was Chris. Suddenly Ben's voice started to crumble and he was in a shock. He asked what did they talk about. She said didn't tell him that Chris warned her about him, rather told him that they caught up on each other's lives. Ben told her not to go anywhere. He was going to visit her soon. After the call, she went on about her business when the thought struck her that Ben didn't go to any gym for workout, and the words said by Chris now started coming back to her as to she didn't know who Ben was. To keep her mind off this, she turned on the TV. The news about the Beverly Butcher was still going on with an update. This time the 4th victim was identified to be Chris Anderson. After hearing these words, Anna's world was shaken. It was like she was falling and falling without an end. She distinctly remembered talking to her friend this morning around 8. Even though the murderer was committed around 6. She couldn't piece it together as to how this could happen. She heard a thud on the steps. She knew it was Ben, and now things were about to go south. She locked the doors and windows and called for the police. A bit. Ben banged the door loudly. Anna, he yelled. Anna didn't open the door. I know you're in there, he said with a chilling voice. Now Anna started to shiver. There was a loud banging on the door. With the noise it could be made out that it was a heavy object being thrown at the door. Crack, a voice came from the room. There was a crack on the door a little opening through which she could see Ben with an axe in his hand trying to take the door apart. After minutes of struggle, she saw him face to face with a wicked smile on his face. She knew now who was the Beverly Butcher. It was none other than her own boyfriend, Ben. The guy she loved so much was a twisted person. She tried talking him out of it, but she knew it was too late. Ben sprinted towards her with the axe in her defense. She had a knife hidden behind her back. She swung the knife, giving Ben's hand a huge scar. Blood was everywhere. Due to injury, Ben dropped the axe. Anna ran towards the door only to be caught by the hair. Ben pulled on her hair and dragged her to the room. Anna felt something struck on her back. It was the axe that Ben came with. Without another thought, she wielded the axe, cutting Ben's arm. Ben's arm fell to the ground. A blood-curdling scream was heard by the people around the vicinity. Anna saw the opportunity and then ran downstairs. The police had already arrived at the scene. She told the police about it all. They all went up and apprehended him, treating him and then taking him to be forever locked in solitude. When he was getting inside the van, he said, "I'm not done with you." These words were enough to give her nightmare for months. It had been a year. Anna was starting to feel a little better about it. She every day thanked Chris, who saved her even after he died. It was no short of a miracle, and no one would believe her after. She told everyone about it. Anna was getting ready to go to the office when she thought of hearing the voicemails left for her. There was only one voicemail for her, which she played. It was a familiar voice that she had before. The wickedness in his voice. The man said, "I told you I'm not done with you."